All right, all right. I think I'm here. I think I've made it. Greetings. It's Miss Winters. Thank you so much for tuning in to my live video. I truly pray that everyone is safe and healthy, but I'll keep it short and go ahead and cut straight to the chase. So basically, today I just want to discuss the Native Son project, even though it's not due until the 28th, I believe, the Saturday. So I want to go over the directions, even though you all actually have the directions in the document to ensure that we are clear. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there is a live chat section. If any one of you can say hello or shoot me an emoji that's appropriate, that would be great. That way I can see if I'm able to chat with you at the same time, which is why I chose this platform. So while that's going on, I'm just going to go ahead and continue. If not, just shoot me an email and I'll get back to you. So first and foremost, the lawyer, okay, should have shared the documents as aforementioned, okay? And I'm now going to go over what the lawyer is actually. Hey, Shayla. Hey, Jaden. Okay, thank you. It works. Is responsible for. Hey, Tate. See you smiling, okay? So if you are the lawyer, hello, everyone. Great. Okay, if you are the lawyer, then I need for you to complete the opposing parties witnesses section under the direct examination of witnesses heading. So if you are on the actual document as the lawyer, you will actually go on the lawyer's desk notes. Okay, you should have that document originally. If I can't see you, it's because I'm looking at my actual computer on the document. And you will scroll to the actual heading that says opposing parties witnesses. Okay, now I'm going to come back to the chat. Okay. Hey, Kiana. Yes, we live, baby. Okay, and Nina, all right? You will actually go to the opposing parties witnesses heading, okay, directly underneath of the direct examination of witnesses. These are questions you will ask your opposing group's witnesses. You can find this information on the spreadsheet. So you all should be able to still access the spreadsheet underneath of third quarter resources, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the spreadsheet, it actually tells you what group you're in. It tells you what your role is. And now it also tells you what witness assignment role that you have. And my apologies, Tate. I said at one point that you weren't allowed to have bigger, but you are allowed to have bigger. So, and I apologize to you, Asiata, but thank you for the communication. All right. But moving forward, so basically, yes, those questions are just, if I'm looking back at the document, I don't want to get any, okay? Those are your who, what, when, where, and why questions, okay? The lawyer is supposed to ask each witness on the opposing party's team, okay? So these questions go towards the witnesses on, let's say if you're on the prosecutor's side, then you're gonna go ahead and be creating questions that would be directed to for the defendants, okay? And vice versa. Okay, we're gonna get towards that, but Sheila, but do you actually understand what I just mentioned in regards to the first part, what the lawyer's supposed to do, Shayla? Okay, I'll wait. Well, I'll continue. That way I'm not wasting time. Okay. The second part that the lawyer is supposed to do is to complete the predetermined closed-ended questions per the defense witnesses, okay? So again, if you actually go to the document, okay, great. I'm glad that you understand, okay? So if you go to the document and you scroll down, we're still on the lawyer's document. You scroll down to predetermined open-ended questions per witness. Sorry, not that one. I lied, okay? Keep scrolling if you're the lawyer, okay? Go to the predetermined closed-ended questions per defense witnesses. This is directly underneath of the cross-examination of witnesses, okay? If you could please go there, okay? You'll see what I'm talking about. Let me drag this over, okay? All right. These questions should be ones that witnesses simply answer yes or no. These are questions you will ask your opposing group's witnesses. So again, these questions, you're not looking for a long explanation. It's simply a yes or no response. And these questions will be directed to the witnesses. Okay, yes, to the witnesses again for the opposing party. So let's say, Shayla, which party are you on? Are you the prosecuting party, or are you the defending party? Okay, no worries, Aljanae. I know you're just tuning in. We're getting there. Shayla, which party are you in? I need to pull up the spreadsheet. Okay, Valia. Okay, Valia says that you're a part of, hey, Valia, the defending party. So if you are the part of the defending party, then you need to go ahead and address those predetermined closed-ended questions in reference to the prosecuting party, okay, for their witnesses. So you should be writing questions that the witnesses can answer solely yes or no to, okay? All right. All right, great. All right. So do you understand that? Watch your mouth, please. Okay. Do you understand that? Is anyone confused about that? Okay, I'll continue. So those are mainly your two parts. The lawyer only has those main responsibilities, okay? Additionally, you are the lawyer, which in my eyes, you are the leader of the group because you have all the documents. So if anyone actually needs help in reference to the witnesses or the clerk, whatever they need help on, you are there to aid them in whatever they need to help. Okay. Moreover, you are responsible for submitting the documents on the actual deadline. Failure to do so, your group's going to end up with a 0. And that would be ridiculous because you had 2 weeks, right? Okay. All right. So that's what the lawyer is supposed to do. Any questions about what the lawyer is supposed to do? The lawyer has 2 responsibilities. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Tate. So that moves me over to my next part. If you are a witness, you need to make sure that you have your ears open. Okay. So the witnesses, if you actually are following along with the directions that I have typed up online, you'll be right with me. So each witness needs to complete a set of open-ended questions underneath the direct examination of witnesses heading. Okay, so that's the very first set of questions on the lawyer's document. Asiata, thank you for tuning in. The only thing that I've went over is the lawyers group, but if you came in late, I'll reiterate whatever you need towards the end, okay? I'm not there yet, Asiata, okay? And if you missed the first part of the directions, okay, I see Aljanae. Okay, so before I go over the witness responsibilities, let me go back to whoever had a question. I see Aljanae said, what's the first responsibility for the lawyers? So the first responsibility of lawyers is to complete the opposing party's witness section under the direct examination of witnesses heading. Okay, so that's highlighted in green on the lawyer's document. Any further questions? Aljanae, I don't want to repeat myself. Okay, Taylor, I haven't went over the witness part yet. So witnesses just answer yes and no questions. Okay. Let me, I haven't gotten to the witnesses part yet, so I don't want to confuse you. So I'm going to move forward, okay? So that's just pretty much the lawyer's part. And I'll post this again so you can review it and fast forward and so forth. So the witness responsibilities. Each witness needs to complete a set of open-ended questions underneath the direct examination of witnesses heading. Okay, so that's on your lawyer documents, the very first set of questions. Okay, let me scroll up. Okay, these are questions your lawyer will ask you. Complete the section with the question stems attached. Be sure to write your name and witness role as requested. All right. So, for example, let's say that, if you can give me a quick second, I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet document that would be accurate within this. This is so interesting teaching at home online, you all. Okay, one quick second. I'll be there. Okay, underneath for third quarter resources, I'm going to the spreadsheet. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and go to since I'll just go ahead and use Shayla's group as an example. That way I can maintain consistency. Okay. All right. So I know some of you all are tuning in late. Hey, Deja, we'll go back over it as need be towards the end. And I'm going to go ahead and continue. Okay. So let's say, for example, for the first bullet for witness responsibilities in Shayla's group, that's the group that I'm going over. Okay. She is on the prosecution party side, and her witnesses are Marquez, who is Mr. Doughton, Nia, who is Miss Doughton, and Kiera, who is Peggy. Okay. Those people are the witnesses. So what they would have to do is for the first bullet underneath of open-ended questions, okay, for the first section, okay, they would have to go ahead and, for example, if who's the first witness? Marquez, who's Mr. Doughton, where it says witness number 1, I'll type in Marquez Willis hyphen Mr. Doughton. That way I can clearly see who that witness is. And then even though he's not the lawyer, he's going to ask questions as if he were the lawyer in reference to Mr. Doughton, the role that he's playing. Okay. All right. Yes, I did put makeup on for you all. I actually had time. All right, but let's go back to the point. All right. And then the other witness, witness number 2, Nia will repeat the same thing, except she would do it for Miss Doughton, and Kiara will repeat the next one for Peggy. Now, some of you all only have 2 witnesses. That's fine. Just leave the actual witness number 3 blank. Okay. Janae, I'll answer that question towards the end, but that's a great question. I won't forget. Please remind me towards the end for our open-ended responses. Okay. All right. So then moving forward, witness responsibilities. Each witness needs to complete a set of closed-end questions under the predetermined open-ended questions per witness section. Okay. So if you could please, this is still in the lawyer's document. Okay. Scroll down. Okay. Scroll down to predetermined open-ended questions per witnesses on page 3 of the actual lawyer document. Okay. And it tells you that basically you have to, create questions towards, questions that the lawyer would ask you, okay? Except these closed-ended questions are these closed-ended questions, they're not yes or no questions. They require an explanation. So, for example, maybe I am maybe I'm Mr. Doughton, correct? And that's Marquez. So I'm looking at the lawyer's document, okay? Witness number 1, I'm going to put Marquez Willis hyphen Mr. Doughton, okay? And notice that there are 10 questions. Half of your questions should relate to naturalism, and then the other half should relate to, excuse me, existentialism. All right. If you don't know what those 2 theories are, I have posted an actual PowerPoint for you all to go and read so you can be able to understand what those concepts are. But Marquez would then go ahead and he would create questions that would be directed to Mr. Doughton, that these are closed-ended questions. Once he has done that, 5 for naturalism pertain to naturalism, and then the other 5 pertain to existentialism. Okay. He'll go ahead and he'll go back and he'll answer those questions in race format. Okay. All right. And we all know how to do race format. So I'll go back over any details towards the end. Let me try to go back. So we make up the questions and answer them. Yes, you do create the questions and you answer them for that part. What is the purpose of this assignment? Okay, so this is basically your novel study assessment, Valia, for Native Son. All right, that's your project. It's okay, no problem if you're using caps. See the pictures. Yes, I'm unable to screen share on this, but you do have the actual documents. Tate, ignore these. Okay. Yes. All right. So when we're talking about exist, what is this part? Let me look back. Give me a second, please. Existentialism. Okay. I want for you to first to go to the actual PowerPoint underneath the third quarter resources and study that portion. And then I'll answer that towards the end. That's a great question. You're asking if I can give you example questions, Shayla. Yes, I'll go ahead and I'll do that after this conversation. I'll give you some example questions of naturalism and existentialism on the actual PowerPoint. Okay, I'll do 3 different ones. Not a problem. Okay. Hey, Jordan, we're not towards the journalist yet. All right. So any other questions in regards to the witness's responsibilities? Those are your responsibilities. Even though you are not the lawyer, you are the witness, and you have to ensure that you create those questions as prompted. Okay. All right. Any other questions other than the ones I said I'll address towards the end? Yes, 28th. All right, no problem, Deja. This will be I'll put this up on Google Classroom if it's still not connected. All right, so I'm moving forward. We are now on the clerk responsibilities. And I will continue to use yes, Shayla's group as an exemplar. All right, so if you are the clerk, okay, the lawyer should have shared with you the open statement document. So Shayla, okay, should have shared with Valia the opening state document that was for the prosecutors. Okay. And if you were on the opposite side, Kaja should have shared to her clerk, Haley, the opening state document that's for the defendants. Okay. But let's go ahead and stick with Shayla's group. So Valia is the clerk. All right. So the clerk, okay, the clerk and the lawyer and the clerk should be the only people on that opening statement document. Okay. Again, it's not the lawyer's responsibility to do the work, but it is the lawyer's responsibility to check in to see if you need any further assistance or clarification. All right. So if you go and actually look at the actual document, I'm going to go and pull that document up. Okay, you should look at the opening statement document if you are the clerk. Open it. Okay, prosecutor's opening statement document. Okay, that's the side that you want. Okay, you'll notice that I've provided you a nice template. Okay, so you have the attention getter, you have the case, a descriptive synopsis, counter argumentative facts, key points, and impactful thesis statement listed on there. Okay, only the actual clerk should be listening to this. Okay, so let me go back. Yes, that's what I'm doing. I'm using your group as an example, Shayla. Okay, so I'm talking about your clerk, Valia. So this is what Valia has to do, Shayla. Okay, so here it tells her that she has to cite a powerful quote about justice that foreshadows your case. which brings me back to case briefs. Okay. So Shayla, because you're in group 1 and group 2, can you please tell me which case brief that you have been assigned to? Is it Mary's or Bessie's? I know, but I want to ensure that you know. Yes, the clerks are responsible for doing opening statements. I'm going to say it again. Anyone from Relia's group, which case are you all working on? Is it Mary's or Bessie's? And if you don't know, you need to say you don't know. Okay, that's not a problem, okay? So if you were to go back to the packet, it says that basically groups 1 and 2 will be working on Mary's case, and groups 3 and 4 will be working on Bessie's case, okay? So Shayla's group, you're working on Mary's case. All right, so where are these case briefs, okay? If you could please go on Google Classroom, okay? Click on classwork, go underneath for third quarter resources, excuse me, okay? You'll notice that you'll see 2 different case briefs, Mary Doughton's case briefs, and it has it labeled groups 1 and 2, and then it has Bessie Mears case brief, groups 3 and 4. Shayla's group, click on Mary Doughton's case brief, okay? If you are in groups 3 or 4, click on Bessie Mears case brief. Okay, please relax. Let's be appropriate. I do not want to have to shut this down. I'm trying to be cooperative. It's okay. I'm using Shayla's as a mock group. We'll get to group 5 towards the end, Miss Brianna. Okay, so I'm now on the case brief. Again, if you are in groups 3 and 4, you should not be on Mary's case brief. You should be on Bessie's case brief. Both of these case briefs are underneath of third quarter resources. All right, so Shayla's case brief, okay, which is Mary's. It states, case brief, the Doughton family on behalf of Mary Dalton versus the state of Illinois, okay? So Shayla's group, you all are defending the Doughton family. Here's the synopsis. Mary Doughton's bodily remains was discovered in the Doughton's furnace. Newly hired Bigger Thomas fled the scene discreetly. There is evidence in the questioning of Bigger being the accuser. The prosecutors believe there is enough evidence that supports Bigger being the suspected murderer. The prosecutors claim that Bigger murdered Mary on the basis of existentialism. The prosecutors believe Bigger chose his fate within this accusation and believe he should ultimately be punished, okay? That further supports, going back to what Tate was asking, what is existentialism? I want for her to go back and look at that actual resource document, but that pretty much further supports existentialism, but I'll go back over it towards the end, no worries. I'm continuing. The defendants believe there is enough evidence, so it shouldn't be defendants, okay? It should be, give me a second, so sorry. Okay, so I need to fix this. That was an error on my part. It should be no, excuse me, no, it's correct. I'm totally going off. So let me go ahead and continue. The defendants believe there is enough evidence that supports that Bigger is a victim within the circumstances of naturally having to murder Mary, okay? Defendants claim that Bigger murdered Mary on the basis of naturalism. The defendants believe natural causes contributed to this accusation and believe he should not be sentenced to the death penalty, but rather an alternative consequence that allows him to live. Okay. All right, yes, I can go back and actually change that font. Would you like for me to do it right now or do it towards the end? Because I'll do it towards the end, okay? But basically I read it, okay? That's your actual case brief. So Shayla's group, you all are defending Mary Dalton, even though she's not here, on behalf of her family. You all are the prosecutors, okay? So that leads me back. We're still on the clerk part. Yes, we are. Okay. So if you go to the actual clerk document, Valia, and other clerks, okay, you'll see it says case Bigger Thomas versus State of Illinois. All right. If you are a defendant, it'll say State of Illinois versus Bigger Thomas. Okay. That's the case. All right. So a descriptive synopsis. I'm going to go back and copy and paste that information in print. I should be able to do that now, actually, really quickly, if I'm not mistaken. Give me a quick second. All right, Tate. Race format should be underneath of accommodations, if I'm not mistaken. However, I will post how to do race format again. All right. But give me a brief second. Okay, I have my actual case brief here. I'm going to change the font so that you all can see it. Oh, gosh. Give me a second, please. This is the same thing. All right. Almost there, you all. Bear with me. Case brief. Oh, yeah, I can do that right now. Okay, so I'll have to go back and fix this, but now it's actually in print. Okay, is that better? I mean, even though I'll go back and organize it, is that better? Let me go back to the tab. Yes. Okay. Ebony, the lawyer, should have sent that document to the clerk. Let me go back and look at your actual chart here. Junior to be Ebony, where art thou? Okay, so Courtney J, you're supposed to work off of her document. Courtney J has all of those documents. She should share the defendant's opening statement document for you. Okay, and she hasn't done that yet. You need to kindly email her to do so. Okay, great. I'm glad that you all can see it. I'll go back and organize it since it's in print. And let me go ahead and I'll do the defendant one after this broadcasting. Okay, so back to the clerk's document. So what you'll do is you'll copy and paste that descriptive synopsis there, and you'll make any modifications as needed. So if you want to make any changes towards a summary upon what's going on, any additional changes, you may do so. Okay, if not, you may leave it as is. So that part is done for you. Okay, next. Okay, the counter argumentative facts. All right, that part. Cite and list 5 facts that the opposing party may use against you. Okay, so clearly everyone has the actual book or e-text. So what you need to do is basically go through the book and find evidence that the opposing party may use against you. Okay, you can go ahead and write these down as simple facts. Okay, you may want to note the page number. That way, as you're going through trial, you're able to reference where you received the information from. So find 5 facts that the actual opposing party may use against you. Yes, Taylor, yes, all the documents are posted underneath of the native mock trial assignment. Let me see who's in your group. Taylor. One moment, please, everyone. Taylor, yes, Fatima should have shared her document with you. So you need to talk with Fatima about that part. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move forward. Okay, so that's all you have to do. 5 facts that the actual opposing party may use against you. So if you're a prosecutor, you need to find 5 facts that the defendants may try to use against you. If you are on the defendant side, as the clerk, you need to find 5 facts that the prosecutors may use against you. All right? Moving forward, key points. List 3 points that you find pertinent towards discussing in reference to attempting to win your claim. Okay. What are three important What are 3 important parts that you feel that your party should review in reference to actually asserting that Bigger deserves the death penalty in regards to what he did? Okay. hmm All right, so those are 3 points. All right. I'll go over that in a second after I finish the document of Leah. And then last but not least, you're gonna go ahead and type an impactful thesis statement. This is basically your claim based off of the actual case brief. What is the claim that you're making? You know that you're defending the Dalton family. Okay. So what is your claim in reference to why Bigger deserves the death penalty? Okay. Bigger deserves a death penalty due to the fact that he blank, blank, and blank, or due to the following key points. Okay. That's why I told you do your key points prior. You have 3 key points. That way you can go ahead and formulate a 3-point thesis statement. Okay. So you go ahead and use, that's how you create your claim. Okay. So let me answer Valia's question first and yours, Tate. All right. So, Valia, first of all, if we go back to counter argumentative facts, those 5 facts are basically 5 pieces of evidence from the text that you believe that the defendants are going to use against you. Okay, what are some pieces of evidence that they may use against you to prove that Bigger does not deserve the death penalty? Okay, they're going to be basically defending their stances off of naturalism. Okay, stating that Bigger naturally had to, it was innate for him to murder Mary Dalton. However, he doesn't deserve the death penalty. He deserves something else, or things of that nature. Okay, so that's something that you have to actually go back and go through the book and look for. All right. Tate's question: does everyone make their own, or are we doing it together? Can you please specify that? All right, Tate. Yes, you're not a clerk. You are a witness, if I'm not mistaken. So everything that I said in reference to the clerk responsibilities, you have nothing to do with that. Okay. And I'm saying that in the most respectful way. You have nothing to do with that. All right. This is simply for the clerk. And the lawyer has a document whereas the lawyer can communicate with the clerk and say, hey, do you need any further clarifications or help? All right. Any questions about that part? The clerk will not be able to do their closing statement document, meaning the PowerPoint, until after we go through the actual trial. Okay, so you'll receive further information on that later. Okay, so don't worry about when you hit submit if their closing statement is not done. Okay, I'll go over that next week. All right, but it's not going to be due on the due date if you're the clerk. All right, any other questions about the clerk before I move on? Okay. All right, journalists, group 5. Where my journalists at? All right. I see. Okay, so Haley, I'm going to do clarifications towards the end. Let me see who you are. You are the clerk. Okay, actually, before I move forward. Okay, Haley, I actually can stop. So before I move on to the journalists, what don't you understand? Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Everything? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back over that towards the end because I don't want to waste any time. So please hang on, okay? I won't be long. All right. Thank you. All right. Not a problem. You too, Brianna. I got you. All right. So the journalists, okay? What are the journalists' responsibilities? Okay. Yeah, yes, you can absolutely call me to break it down, but I'm going to go back before I get off of here and clarify any questions beforehand, okay? You can always call me. All right, but give me a second, please. My number is underneath the third quarter resources. It's PTech English hotline. Yes, honestly, I don't remember the number, but once I get off, I can email it to you. But it's underneath the third quarter resources. Okay. So, journalists, all right, your responsibility. Your lawyer, or say, actually, no, not the lawyer. journalists, okay? The lead reporters should have shared the journal document, the journalist document. That is the only document that you all are supposed to be working on, the journalist document, okay? So the lead journalists, they were actually highlighted with an asterisk on the actual spreadsheet. So if I look here, I see that Lacey is the lead journalist for 2B. And no, sorry, not 2B, 2A. And then for 2B, Jawan is the lead journalist. Okay. Because if you go on the actual spreadsheet that I posted up, you'll see an asterisk beside their name. I also sent you all an email. So Jawan, he's your lead journalist, or Janae. Okay. And then for group 5, okay. Yes, the clerks only work on the opening statement as of right now. They will work on the closing statement at a later time. No one will be penalized for not completing the closing statement, because it's impossible to complete a closing statement when we haven't begun trial, if that makes any sense. All right, so journalists, okay? On your lead journalist document, you all have to create open-ended questions that can be addressed to the Chicago Police Department, okay? Each journalist is mandated to type in 10 questions, okay? I already segmented it out, all right? Please provide an answer for each question in race format. Use the novel to cite evidence, okay? So basically, these would be questions that you all as journalists would ask the police department in reference. It could be, let me go on the actual document. Okay. You can ask them any questions. However, just know that for each question, you're going to have to provide a response in race format. So it's not going to be a closed-ended question where you can say yes or no. Okay. It's basically going to be an open-ended question. Okay. It should be a question where you can actually go back and you're able to answer it in race format. Okay. These questions as well, you can even select some from the actual study guide or look for that for guidance. Okay. But you're questioning the police department upon the happenings. All right. So if you notice that after you write each question, the spreadsheet is underneath for third quarter resources. And it's labeled Miss Winter's class, group, or individual assignment sheet. Okay. All right. So if I'm looking at the journalist document, notice that I have numbers 1 through 10, as well as letters for where you write your response for each number. So I know that Jawan's group has 4 reporters, but technically I have 50 questions. No one is responsible to do an additional set of questions, okay, because it's 10 questions per reporter. And if you're on the other document, all of the questions should be filled out because you all have 5 reporters, okay? Now, what's going to end up happening is you all, once you create your questions, you all need to study and be able to answer those questions, because each of you at one point in time will be a lead reporter. Okay, no, not a lead reporter. You all will be the chief police spokesperson. Okay, so before trial, we'll be holding a press conference, and Jawan, he is the lead reporter, but he's going to be the first spokesperson. Okay, so basically, you all will ask him questions, ask him the questions that you all actually took the time up to create, but he's not going to be allowed to look at his document. Okay, he'll have to actually answer those questions. All right. So then it says the lead reporter will rotate the spokesperson position for each trial. So let's say that Jawan did it for the first trial, and then the next day when we do our closing statement, who knows, Janae, she may be the person to be the spokesperson, but you don't know who's going to be the spokesperson yet or not. Okay, but someone else additionally for the second trial will be the spokesperson on behalf of the police department. Any questions? You said, when is the trial? So basically, my goal is that even though it's due the 28th, that gives me time to go back, review it, and give you feedback. So I would actually prefer that it's the 28th, 29th, 30th. The trial may be going into fourth quarter if they don't give us an extension. Okay. However, you will still get credit for all your work if the quarter cuts off. But I want to give you like 1 or 2 days to actually practice. Like we should be able to do a practice mock trial and so forth. So I can't give you a date right away, but it's not going to be immediately that following Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Mhm. We're going to practice, so don't worry. Okay. I think you came in late, so there may be some, misunderstanding. Okay. All right. You're funny. All right. So let me go ahead and go over with. Yes, you do have to. You're still responsible for that part as well. All right. But everyone has a different section. So you're not doing the entire mock trial on your own. Everyone has a specific role. Okay. All right. So moving forward. All right. So any questions overall? First, let's start off with the actual lawyers. Any questions from the lawyers? Maybe you came in late. Maybe you misunderstood. Any questions? Okay. Tate, I will address that in a few. Okay. Oh, okay. Yes. I'll address additional responses that do not pertain to the lawyer in a few. Okay. Any questions for the lawyer part? All right. Any questions for the clerk part? Do the clerks have any questions? Okay. So I will go back and reiterate everything. And I will go back and review everything. All right. So before I do that, let's say if we don't go back to school, hypothetically, and we're still having to continue school, then ultimately we will use a platform whereas we will get on here. We will agree to a time where we can get on here and perform a video conference of the mock trial. So we may use Google Hangouts or what is it? Voodoo or something where we can all be on. Those people who are scheduled for their trial, they can go ahead and complete their assignment. Okay. All right. No, not a problem. Not a problem. All right. So let me go ahead and reiterate the directions. So again, if you're the lawyer, you have two responsibilities, only two responsibilities. Yes, I'm going to go back and just reiterate for those who came in late, Haley and for Asiata. Okay. So starting off, lawyer's responsibilities. You have to complete the opposing party's witness section underneath the direct examination of witnesses. Okay. These are questions you will ask your opposing groups of witnesses. Okay. So for example, if you're in Shayla's group and you are the lawyer, of course, you're going to go ahead and type questions that actually start off with who, what, when, where, or how. Those are the question stems, okay? And you'll actually ask questions that will be directed towards the defendants, okay? Any questions on that? Okay. Secondly, okay, the second thing that the lawyer has to do is complete the predetermined closed-ended questions per defense witnesses. So again, if you're in Shayla's group and you are the lawyer, you have to go to the document so I can ensure that everything's consistent. Okay. All right. You have to ask questions that would simply have the opposing party respond yes or no. Okay. For example, you may say for the witnesses, Shayla's group, she's the lawyer, so she may ask Jada, who is Bessie. She may say, "Where were you the night of Mary's murder?" Oh, no, sorry, not. Were you there the night of Mary's murder? That's basically a closed-ended question. Yeah, that's a yes or no question. Okay. She's not going to ask, what were you wearing the night of Mary's murder, Bessie? Because that's not a yes or no question. Okay? So that's what the lawyer does. Any questions, lawyers? Has Asiata came back yet, Tate? No? Okay. All right. I'm moving forward. No more questions for the lawyers? Okay. And the lawyer understands that they are the mastermind. They are pretty much ensuring that everyone is on point. They're helping everyone, things of that nature. Okay. Okay, Asiata. So basically, I was just saying, I was going over the directions again, but Nate said that she screen recorded it for you. Want me to explain it again? Sure, that's fine. I'll explain it again. All right. We're still on the lawyer's responsibilities. I'm just going over it. So the lawyer is responsible for primarily 2 items. Okay. 1, they have to complete the opposing party's witnesses section. That section is highlighted in green underneath of the direct examination of witnesses. Okay. These are questions you will ask your opposing group's witnesses. Okay. So for example, we're using Shayla's group as an example. She's the lawyer. Okay. So she's going to be asking witnesses on, she's going to be asking questions for the defendant's witnesses. Okay. And if you look at the actual document, you'll see question stems such as who, what, when, where, why, how. All you have to do is write down questions that follow that stem, okay? And that's basically you're creating your own questions, but you have to use the who or the what or the when or the why as prompted. Okay? If you are a lawyer. Is anyone confused about that? Okay. All right. If so, just call me. The second bullet, complete the predetermined closed-ended questions per defense witnesses, okay? Okay, I'm waiting, Shayla. Good question. How do you know the defendant's witnesses? So if you could please go on that document underneath for third quarter resources where it says Ms. Winters class, group, or individual assignment sheet. In parentheses, I have put in place who the witnesses are for everyone's group. So for example, Asiata, if you look, you're going against group number 2. Okay, so group one goes against group number 2. And then there'll be a different trial where group 3 will go against group number 4. All right. So Asiata, you're going to be asking questions to Jada, Angel, and Chloe. Jada is Bessie. In parentheses, it says Angel is Miss Doughton, and Chloe is Jan. Okay, this is on the document. It's in parentheses. Okay, you see it. Okay, no problem, Shayla. That's fine. You can call me. All right. So the second bullet, you're still going to be asking questions to those people from the opposing party. Okay. I mean, so basically, Asiata, you'll still be asking those same witnesses questions, except these questions have to be questions where the answer is yes or no, such as Jada is Bessie. So you may say, Bessie, were you with Bigger the night of the murder? That's a yes or no question. Do you understand that, Asiata? Technology is amazing. Okay, okay, great. All right. So those are the 2 things that the lawyer has to do aside from being the mastermind, being the person who checks on everyone, ensuring that they're okay. Do they need any clarification or help upon anything? All right. Any other questions for the lawyers? Excuse me. Yeah, so yep, exactly, Shayla, exactly, until we actually perform the trial. Is it making okay? I'm glad it's making sense. Like I said, I don't mind being on here making clarifications. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the witnesses. Okay. Are there any witnesses that need for me to reiterate what their job is, or does anyone need, or are there any lawyers who need for me to reiterate what the witnesses' jobs are? Okay, so I'll go back. Sheila asked a question in regards to saying, can you repeat who, what, when, where, why? Okay, so if you look at the you're talking about the questions underneath of the opposing parties' witnesses for the who, what, when, where, and why. Basically, you're asking questions that begin with those question stems. You're making those up on your own in reference to addressing the witnesses on the opposing party's side. Okay, so if I look at the document here, you're going against group number 2. Okay, so that means that you will be asking questions towards Maggie, who is bigger, Sydney, who is Max, and Bright, who is Jan. Okay. So you'll go ahead. If I look at the document, okay, underneath of opposing parties witnesses, which is highlighted in green, you'll type in for witness number 1, for example, Maggie, and then you'll put a hyphen, and you'll put down her role, which is in parentheses as bigger. Okay, and then you'll go and it says who. And you'll go ahead and start off with who, and then you'll follow off with whatever question that you're going to ask towards bigger, and what, and then you'll follow off, and then you'll just continue answering all of those questions, and you'll repeat the process for the other 2 witnesses, and you're just strictly asking those questions. Okay, I'm glad you got that. Okay, great. Tate. Okay, so hang tight real quick, Tate. Let me make sure I'm clear with the lawyers. Okay, I think we're clear with the lawyers. All right, Tate, you are a witness. Okay. Yes, so basically, you are asking questions as if you are the lawyer. Okay. However, yeah, you're just typing it down on a document. Okay. But know that once the trial begins, you're not going to be reading the questions. Those are the questions that will be addressed to you during trial. So it's just best that you go ahead and study whatever questions that you have written down so you can be prepared when you go up for trial, if that makes sense. You are writing questions as if you are the lawyer, though. Tate, do you have an understanding? Okay. Any other questions in reference to the witness roles? Do I need to go over that? Well, you said reiterate. So again, if you are a witness, we're still in the lawyer's document. The lawyer should have shared the lawyer document to you all. Okay, if you're a witness. So each witness needs to complete a set of open-ended questions underneath of the direct examination of witnesses heading. Okay, which is the very first set of questions. So if you go on the document, very first set of questions, and it says open-ended questions, your team of witnesses, okay? You'll go ahead and if let's say that let's use Tate as an example. Sorry, Tate, where you at? One second, please. Okay, so let's say that Tate, she decides that, okay, she's going to be witness number 2 because Nina's 1, Tate's 2, and then Darian's 3. So Tate will actually go on the document where it says witness number 2. She'll go ahead, she'll put her name, and then she'll put a hyphen. Her role is bigger. Okay. And then she'll go ahead and she'll write down questions that a lawyer could possibly ask herself. and that's it. Okay, that's it. The other witnesses have to do their own parts. Okay, I'm glad that you understand. All right. And then for the next portion, okay, the second part for the other witnesses, well, for all the witnesses, the second part is that each witness needs to complete a set of closed-ended questions under the predetermined open-ended questions per witness. So again, I'm gonna use Tate as an example. She is bigger, Thomas. So I'll scroll down to predetermined open-ended questions per witness, highlighted in orange. Okay, and again, Tate is number 2. Okay, so Tate is responsible for filling out her name and putting her character's role name again beside witness number 2. And she has to ask herself questions as if she were the lawyer, questions that would reflect naturalism and existentialism, which I promised her I would go over. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So Tate, if you're able to do so, if you could go to classwork underneath for third quarter resources, I have provided a very simplistic lesson plan. Google slide titled Existentialism versus Naturalism. Okay, if you could please go there. You will have to actually write a video. I mean, not write a video. You'll actually have to look at the video to get a better understanding. But let me see if I can first actually okay, I can correct this now. Give me a second, please. Okay, so you are on the prosecutor's side. Give me a second, please. Okay, so for example, if I go back to the case brief, which I'm going to end up manipulating in a few. Okay, if we go back to the case brief, it states in regards that the prosecutors claim that Bigger murdered Mary on the basis of existentialism. Okay, the prosecutors believe Bigger chose his fate within this accusation and believe he should ultimately be punished. Sorry, let me go back to the actual video. So basically, Tate, when we're talking about existentialism, we're talking about the fact that you're trying to defend that Bigger, he did commit the murder. He does deserve the death penalty. That's what your side is trying to actually do to you, ironically. Okay. But they're saying on the basis of simply because he chose to do that. Okay. Existentialism is basically the fact that, hey, we are born and we make choices in life. We choose our fate. That's simply what we're trying to do here. Is they say that basically God has no role in it. It just happens, but we have ultimately more control. But at the same time, I'm not going to try to get too complex to confuse you here. There are people who believe in existentialism, the fact that we choose our fate, who are atheists, and there are also people who are theists, meaning people who believe in existentialism, and however, they also believe that there's a God. So that has nothing to do with it. So basically, that's what that part means for existentialism. Do you understand the first definition for existentialism? It's getting late. Tate and others video so you can get more of a meaning. But if you go back to the case document, upon which I'll fix in a second. Okay, well, after this video, I'll fix it immediately. It says the defendants believe there is enough evidence that supports that Bigger is a victim within the circumstances of naturally having to murder Mary. Defendants claim that Bigger murdered Mary on the basis of naturalism. The defendants believe natural causes contributed to his accusation and believe he should not be sentenced to the death penalty, but rather an alternative consequence that allows him to live. Okay. So let me go back to the slide. So if you look at the very last slide, okay, again, when we're talking about naturalism is basically connecting back to the fact that Bigger naturally, by nature, he had to actually, nature dictated his actions. For example, survival of the fittest. What we're going through right now is, it's a pandemic. It's an extreme crisis, and as you all know, a lot of people are raiding the grocery stores and things of that nature, trying to get food and things. Well, not raiding, but they're going to the grocery store. Extensively. Okay. If there were ever to be a time, God forbid, that was not any food within the grocery store, people may naturally resort to cannibalism because naturally we need food, things of that nature. So basically, when we're talking about naturalism, we're looking for causes that that would innately catalysts that would innately cause Bigger to behave the way that he behaved. Okay. And I try to give you some examples on the actual slide, where it says, we're talking about harsh circumstances generated his behavior. We're talking about him having to survival of the fittest, what I just mentioned, dignity from his struggle, fate, heredity, basically being a Black man, or being a man, or like, what are some things that naturally would cause him to behave the way that he's going to behave? So those questions should be generated from that point. Okay. Is that more clear, Tate and others? But I want to make sure that I hear from Tate. Okay, she may be on. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so long story short, once you create those questions, 5 for naturalism, 5 for existentialism, I need for you to go ahead and answer those questions in race format. When we're talking about race format, we're talking about restating the question, answering the question, finding evidence that supports your answer, explaining it, and then writing an end sentence. The same process that we use when we used to do, when we did independent reading second quarter. That's race. And I'll go ahead and I'll post the format again online for you. Any other questions for the witnesses? Right. All right, moving forward. Excuse me. Clerk responsibilities. Okay. The clerk is responsible for 2 documents, but right now the clerk needs to only focus on 1 document, which is the opening statement. Okay, the lawyer should have shared that with you. All right. And basically, I've given everyone a template. And the first thing that the clerk has to do in regards to the attention getter is to find a powerful quote about justice that foreshadows your case. All right, I already gave you the case brief. I'm going to change the font in a few, and I'll change that. Okay, so you'll go ahead after reading it, find a quote that inspires what you're going to talk about in reference to what you're going to defend as the prosecutor, the prosecutor's clerk, or the defendant's clerk. Okay. Secondly, a descriptive synopsis that has been already provided for you. I'm going to screenshot it again, and basically that's the actual case brief. So all you have to do is copy and paste the case brief synopsis from your group's case brief. All right. So make sure that if you're in groups 1 or 2, that you're focusing on Mary's case. If you are in groups 3 or 4, it should be Bessie's case. Okay. So I'm going to rephrase that. You're not going to be able to copy and paste it. You're actually going to have to type it out. Okay. And then it says that you can add any modifications, meaning changes, if you need to or you want to. Okay. All right. Counter argumentative facts. You're just going to go ahead and cite and list 5 facts that you feel that the opposing side may use against you. Okay. So if I'm looking here, the clerk. In Shayla's group, the clerk again is Valia. So Valia is going to go ahead. She's going to go through the novel and look for facts that the defendant party may use against her in reference to her claim, whatever she's trying to support. Okay. And then the key points. What are like 3 important parts that you believe play a role within your claim? And then last but not least, you'll write a thesis statement. That's basically your claim that with the 3 key points that you should have already written before that part. Right? And then we said that the closing statement, don't worry about that. You're going to end up turning in this assignment with the closing statement blank, because the closing statement cannot happen until we actually go through the trial. Okay. Any questions? Any questions with that? Okay, journalist responsibilities. Okay, again, there are 2 lead journalists. Okay, and basically that's Jawan and 2B, and oh my, and the other group is Lacey. My apologies, Lacey. All right, so Lacey and Jawan should have shared the journalist document to everyone in their group. Okay, everyone should be working on the lead journalist's document. Okay, and basically you all have to create open-ended questions. That means questions that require a raised response. It can't be questions that just simply generate a yes or no response. All right. So basically, you're going to end up asking open-ended questions that could be addressed to the Chicago Police Department. So each journalist is mandated to type those 10 questions and then answer those questions in race format. Make sure that you use the novel to cite evidence. I already went over what race format was, okay? Or well, is, I should say, all right? And then you all are to review and practice questioning each other in an effort to prepare for the press conference, because there will be a couple individuals who will actually have to go up and go up to the actual front of the class if we have class, or actually while we're on video chat be the Chicago police chief, okay? And the people in your group are going to basically ask you questions upon what's going on, and you should be able to answer them effortlessly without using your paper, your document. All right. So that'll happen for one trial, and then the next trial will rotate with someone else. Okay, so maybe it'll no longer be Jawan, even though he's the lead reporter. It'll be all Janae. Okay, you just never know. Okay, but there will be 2 people, so you never know who's going to be selected for the next day. All right, and that's it. That's it for that. Any other questions, comments, or concerns before I log off of here? Again, I am going to go ahead and change the font of the case brief. My apologies for the font if you weren't able to read it. I'm trying to be a little fancy. That's court-like font, but it's okay. It's not a problem. Have to be able to read it, so I sincerely apologize on that. Any questions in pertinence to school that you want to know? I know some people have mentioned they were asking what's going to happen if we are not able to return to school and we still have to conduct school. Again, if we're not able to return to school, we have to conduct school. We will end up doing a video conference and conducting trial. That way, you will be issued a set schedule that we will agree upon ahead of time. So no worries, okay? We're not going to rush it. You will be issued time to practice. I'll even practice with you if you want when we're doing trial before we actually do the actual trial, okay? But that's it. That's it. All right. Well, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. And again, I'll see if I can post this. I see I was on here for 1 hour and 8 minutes, so almost our class time, which is 70 minutes. But I really appreciate you all and the hard work that you do. And tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll go over the mini research project. If anyone has any questions, and I'll go live. I should be able to do it earlier. And if you miss it, that's fine. I'll just go ahead and send you the link, and you can go underneath for 3rd quarter resources to pick up and fast forward wherever we left off. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Call me if you need me or email me. Take care. Bye.